We are back. Hello and welcome to Reality Check. My name is Dan,
My name is Lucy.
and this is Reality Check. See, I forgot the intro. Is that how it goes? I don't know. I'm leaving this in.
I
I'm leaving this in. This is
have no idea.
our new season of Reality Check. We recently covered Survivor 44, and now we're here, going bigger than ever before. We've got Big Brother 25.
Literally bigger
Sorry,
because
week
it's
ago.
Big Brother.
Yeah. Big Brother started a week ago. Survivor and The Amazing Race are going to start in September. This has become a reality check, a weekly check on all reality that we're watching. And that is going to include Big Brother, Survivor, and The Amazing Race for whatever their overlap is. So this is our first episode. We did not do a draft for Big Brother. We will probably do one for Survivor again. But right now, for the next month or so, Big Brother gets the main focus. So
Hooray for
I
Big
guess like the
Brother.
next nearly 2 months. I guess it's not a huge overlap, but
Yeah.
anyways, so let's check in
Month
on
and a half.
reality. Yeah.
Yes.
So Lucy, this is your first time watching Big Brother ever. Um,
Yes.
what do you think?
I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Like, I thought, oh, it'll be okay. I'll watch it. It's something nice. I'm like, I'm getting really into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about since you are a new Big Brother viewer, let's talk about the differences between Big Brother and Survivor a bit. I feel like Big Brother is almost harder to know everyone right away because they're not
Mm,
in teams like they are in Survivor. Even though it's less people overall, it's still like, oh, everyone's there, everyone's individual, and stuff like that.
yeah.
So, did you notice any of that in your first few
Yeah, it's
episodes?
almost like they've been thrown into a big merge straight away,
Yeah.
which is really strange. And I think as a viewer as well, it's a bit harder to kind of figure out who the main characters are,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Normally on Survivor, you can kind of see who's taking the power positions on each tribe, and it's a lot easier to try and gauge like who's on the outs.
Hmm.
But in
Yeah.
Big Brother, it's a lot more like the wheel is going to spin and it's going to land on someone, and you just do not want it to be you.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that is what happened.
Hmm.
That is what
Yeah.
happened.
And big thing with Big Brother, we'll talk about the actual week soon. But another difference thing, Big Brother is recorded live compared to Survivor, which is recorded like 6 months in advance. So
Yes,
you made some comments about this already with
I
the Big Brother.
did.
Yeah.
Yes. So I thought it was really interesting because with Survivor, the editors know who's going to win. Like
Hmm.
they edit it knowing who the winner is going to be, and they want to tell the winner's story as part of the editing.
Hmm.
Big Brother is really interesting because no one knows who's going to win it. So it's like
Exactly.
they have to show everyone. So you're going to get everyone's story. The
Hmm.
stories are going to get cut off randomly. There's not going to be these completed arcs for people. The winner could come out of nowhere. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And of course, with Survivor, they try to tell everyone's story, but they
Yeah.
ultimately need to tell the story of the game. And Big Brother is trying to do the same thing, but they're doing it as that story is written, which is just really
Very cool.
it's a really cool variety. Like when it comes to reality shows where you're voting people off, there's not always a ton of ways for variety. I'd say Big Brother and Survivor are kind of polar opposites of the same thing. The formats are different enough, and you've got one that's in this nice house but still cut off from the outside world. Like they don't get to see their loved ones, just like in Survivor, where they don't get to see their family for a bunch of days, but they're on an island. They're trying to survive and do challenges, and you've got all these differences, but they're pretty similar in some ways too. And maybe we could do a bonus episode just comparing the two different shows.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
these,
to be honest, if I had to go on one of the shows right now, I would be picking Big Brother because my goodness, you can sleep in a real bed.
Mhm.
Like that's such a novelty to me, seeing them actually like just going to
Yeah,
bed. Like
yeah.
what? You mean they're not sleeping on like a pile of logs in the middle of a storm and there's like chickens climbing over them? Like
Yeah, yeah. I do believe Big Brother is physically easier than Survivor, but it's
uh-huh.
also
Uh-huh.
longer.
Oh, and the challenges
Mm.
are more fun as well. Like Survivor is like hang by your fingernails from the edge of a cliff. And Big Brother is like, oh, we might kick you in the butt with a silly little
Oh
thing.
my
Like,
gosh.
that
Yeah.
looks so fun. I want to play. Like the thing that they had where you like get hoisted into the air. Like that looked like so much fun. I would do that. Like I really wanted to have a go at the flower stacking.
Really? Yeah.
There's like my types of challenges, you know.
Mhm.
Like that would be so fun.
So yeah, first of all, I mean, I guess it's expected at this point, but spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the past 3 episodes of Big Brother, then I don't
What
know
are
what
you
you're
doing
doing here.
here?
Yeah, exactly. um, yeah, but yeah, the challenges this season have been interesting. Um, so if they start with the live movement and they have 4 different competitions, but it's like, ooh, it's the scramble verse, and now these competitions determine nominees instead of possible heads of household. So you've got the competitions, and the most interesting one was definitely the kick yourself in the butt, which I I mean, yeah,
I
it's
was
interesting.
giggling.
Yeah. Um it was funny in the premiere. It's funny in the have not room. It's overall like, it's a little fun thing that with the Humiliverse or whatever. Um and I wonder if they'll give us like the stats on how many times people kick their own butts in this season. Like it. So when they get to the
Yes,
final
someone's
three,
got to do that.
okay. So spoiler to you, when they get to the final three, before they do that final head of household competition, they do like a compilation remember episode of stuff, like past stuff, some stuff we haven't seen,
Okay.
some stuff we have. Like they'll be like, oh, we all cried in here, and then they'll show clips of everyone crying, or like, and I imagine they'll talk about all being humiliated, and they'll just show how many times they kicked themselves in the butt or something like that. But yeah, that's a little tangent. But yeah, the Big Brother multiverse is kind of the theme of this season, and it's had some interesting things. What do you think about the Big Brother multiverse?
I think it's so stupid and I love it.
Yeah, uh, one thing that I watched Big Brother with my family, and one thing we thought about with this was the writer's strike, and you get like the really cheesy opening, and where like the 3 random Big Brother players are doing this really cheesy time travel thing. And my dad like, oh, it's the writer's strike, and yeah, that's the perfect. Like Big Brother is normally very cheesy, in my opinion. They do these cheesy things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like they turned up the cheese, and obviously it's not really due to the writer's strike because it's not much of a scripted show, but just like the notice and like it's noticeably cheesier for this 25th season, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's been interesting. um, yeah, yeah. So with this multiverse, they came in with 4 people nominated already. What did you think? What did you think about that? With the 4 people losing this competition, they're nominated and they're just trying to get off the block.
Well, I'll be honest, I had no idea what it meant to be nominated, so I just figured, right, well, that's not great for those guys. Um, because I don't know any different. So to me,
Mhm.
this was cool. I was like, "Ooh, exciting!"
Yeah, yeah. So it was. I mean, yeah, we don't need to. Well, I guess quick summary of the. No, we'll let it go naturally.
It gave like a natural way for multiple people to have their like not main character moment, but to put different people
Mhm.
in the spotlight in different
Yeah.
ways. Like it automatically put people in different roles. Like you had the 2 people that got saved immediately, they've been in a role where they've been saved by someone. You had the head of household then has to like keep 2 people in and save two
Mhm.
people, and then you had the people that did get kept in and kind of they've got a story now. So rather than just having the standard like one person's the head of household, they nominate, I assume, 2 people. It kind of threw an extra 2 people into the mix and made them a bit more memorable
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
Though I can't actually remember who the last. It was Corey, was it?
Corey
Was
and Jared were the other 2 nominees.
Jared? Yeah,
It was
yeah,
Corey,
I remember
Jared,
him. And then
Felicia, and Kirsten.
yes,
What's really interesting about this, now you don't know as much about Big Brother going in, Normally, first head of household is a very like not controversial, but kind of a you don't know if you want to be that first head of household. So like there are a decent amount of winners who were the first head of household, but there are a decent amount of first head of households who were like pre-jury, and it's a
So
lot
it's
of
quite like
power.
memorable.
Yeah, and like to do those first nominees, you don't want to get blood on your hands that early. So it kind of reduced the scariness of the first head of household because the nominees are there. All you have to do is just save two of them. Like you can, I was thinking about it. You can just walk like Kirsten and Felicia. You can just walk up to them and be like, "Hey, I didn't nominate you. These weren't my nominations. I'm sorry that I didn't save you, but ultimately this wasn't up to me, and I hope you'll understand that." And I feel like that makes it much easier on the first head of household, which honestly I kind of like that. But
Yeah.
with how they did the first four nominations, it really screwed over Kirsten. From the way I see
Mm.
it, I feel like she got into that position and she immediately wanted to get herself out of that position, and in doing so, she got caught playing too hard. Which,
And to be honest, I'm finding myself a bit of a Kirsten defender.
yeah,
She
no,
didn't actually do anything that much. Like this other alliance that she was. I think the alliance with, was it Suri and
she had an
Felicia?
alliance with Siri and Felicia, and then she had another small group of five with
Yeah,
some of the
like
other
that
young
small group
people.
of five. I don't think that was really like. I don't think she can take
Hmm.
too much blame for that. Like they
Yeah,
were all
no,
just kind of hanging
yeah,
out there. Someone was gonna
hmm,
say it.
yeah, exactly. And that alliance,
So, and
they
the
didn't
other,
stay
the
together,
smaller
obviously.
group, yeah, the smaller group, exactly. So clearly there was no stock in that alliance.
Hmm.
And this smaller group that she made with Siri and Felicia, it felt like a lot more genuine. I genuinely
Yeah,
think she would have stuck with
she
that.
did that herself, and I think she would have been loyal to them. Um,
But that's the thing. I think perhaps even just Jared and Suri's like conversation, they
yep,
perhaps just like they maybe took it a bit too far in assuming how much of a like going
yeah,
around and getting caught she'd been doing. It's not like she was sneaking around making loads of alliances.
yeah.
Like
As
she
far as we
happened
know,
to be in the right place at, yeah,
we
but she
don't.
happened
Yeah.
to she happened to be in the right place at the right time, and then
Hmm.
she tried to form a solid like trio.
Yeah, I agree. And her logic was like she doesn't want to see the old people getting voted out first, and she wanted to work with them. Um, let's talk about Jared and Suri. So, first episode of the season, they do all this live competition stuff, and then they walk into the house and boom, there's Suri. Um, first, we like you and I were both wondering when we watched this. Does Jared know that Suri's playing? Like, did he
Yeah.
expect this? Is he just yeah? But it turns out he did. They knew that this was gonna happen.
No, but like imagine you're playing Big Brother and you've wanted to do this for years and you're like you've just done the first challenge. You walk inside the house and your mother is stood there. Like
Yeah, it's such a because they've done people who know each other. Like season four, they had six people. Three of them like they didn't. I didn't think they knew that each other would be there. Or I'm not. I think this was season four, but they were exes. Like
oh no.
yeah, and they just showed up and
How did they find that out?
how did who find that out?
The production. How
I
did
have no.
production
I
know?
genuinely don't know. I don't know how
That's
it worked back then. I did not.
that's the real Big Brother is watching moment. Like
Yeah,
what the heck?
but yeah. So Jared and Suri, and this is the first like mother son relationship we've seen in Big Brother, like for pre-existing. Um, it's I. It's a lot because Suri is obviously a legend in Survivor, and I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes Jared is trying to like be up there with her gameplay, and he can be. Just like I feel like that's kind
He
of where
just
this
needs
whole
to calm
Kirsten
down.
debacle started.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, well, Kirsten talked to you. Well, guess what? She talked to me, and that's fair. Like if
And we
you're
caught her.
if
So
you
let's
have two
get her
nominees,
out.
if she's already on the block, and you just need to find a reason for someone to be the first person out. But like, there's
Mm.
nothing wrong with how they're playing. It's just
The thing is though, there were four nominees at that time when
yes.
that happened.
Hmm.
So if things had perhaps gone differently, because I feel like Kirsten definitely could have been a number to Jared and Suri,
Oh,
especially
for
because of the
sure.
connection with Suri, because So I think they've really fumbled a bit there because someone like maybe I don't know, Corey, for example, who Suri actually mentioned, he
Hmm.
knows how much of a good player she is, and she knows that he knows. So, he's going to know that she's a threat and is going to want to target her down the line. And
Hmm.
she knows that. She said that. So it's like he could have been there. He could have been on the block instead.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think Corey could be in big trouble if he's in a good spot where the attention's not really on him. It's kind of on this young versus old thing, which he's part of the
Mm,
young as far as we know. But like he acts really smart, and I'm sure he is relatively smart. But like he could get himself in trouble quickly. What I want to say
yeah.
about Suri is she is notoriously bad at competitions, at challenges and stuff like that. Like that's not her skill. Her skill in Survivor is social and strategy, and
Bless her
that's
heart.
purely why she's made it far on her seasons. Her social game and her
Yeah.
strategic game. Um, with that being said, I think a lot of this cast isn't taking her as much of a threat. Like I think maybe some of them just don't fully know who she is, but I think the way it's going, the way we've seen, I feel like she's getting into these alliances like just as naturally as a normal player would. And I don't think they're
Yeah.
seeing her as this huge threat, which is awesome because I want her to be able to play a normal game. But
Yeah.
also with Suri, I think you could reliably take her to Final Three and then just know she's gonna lose that final head of household competition and
Mm,
victor then. Like so
very
what
true.
you've never seen Big Brother. The final
No,
head
but
of
I'm
household
understanding how it
competition,
goes.
yeah, it's like someone wins head of
I'm
household, but it's like a
imagining it's
three
like
part thing.
final. Oh,
It's like yeah, so the first challenge is usually like some sort of endurance. Whoever wins that, they skip to the final round. Then
oh, okay.
the other two have a challenge that's usually like running around while doing something involving history of the season, and whoever wins that goes to the final round. Then the last two, their challenge is the jury quotes. Um, they have like they have jury members saying something, and then three different ways they can finish the quote, and they have to match it. So Suri could very
Right,
well win that part, but I don't think she could make it to that final part. So I just don't think she could win final head of household. And I think
right.
if people are concerned about her jury threat and social threat and strategic threat, it would be quite easy to take her to the final three, then vote her off, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Okay.
Anything you want to add about the whole Jared Suri thing?
Um, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that's everything for
Hmm.
now. But I do agree with what you're saying about
Yeah.
Jared maybe getting a bit too excited to like throw someone's name out and control a
Yeah.
vote without actually thinking about like who the other people
Hmm.
up for voting are.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
We should talk about favorites.
Yeah. What do you think about this cast so far? Um.
I think they're all really cool. I think it's a
Yeah.
really good mix.
Hmm.
Like there's a really good range of people. It's
Yeah, it is. I
because
I
I
do
feel
like
like
this
sometimes
cast.
there's a bit of a it's almost like you end up with half cast being like these really like models basically
Hmm.
like really attractive half of their jobs are
Exactly.
actually model and it's kind of like
Or
oh okay
influencers or
so they
something
just
like
wanted a
that.
load of
Yeah.
like visually appealing people
Hmm.
because that's great and all but then it's like they're all quite similar in terms of personality and it's a bit like oh, okay um but then we've got such a good range like as mentioned we've got lots of older people on this cast compared to normal apparently
Hmm. Yeah. Generally.
um and again that's not normally a route that like reality shows go down it's normally young attractive people not that the
Hmm.
older people aren't attractive but you know what I mean um people who are like oh they're at their peak and it's just like a big room full of people of all the same age and they're
Hmm.
all like making the same jokes and the two old people that are there are like
Yep. Like there's
left
usually a
out.
token old person and like it. Yeah. But yeah, this is
Yeah.
a really diverse cast in many ways, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um.
I also want to mention Jag. Is that
Yep.
his name?
Yep.
Jag, yeah. He's the first Sikh on
Yep.
Big Brother.
On
Which
Big Brother US, I feel like there might have been one on Big Brother Canada, but I I
Okay,
don't fully know.
that's fine. Either way, there is definitely not a lot of Sikh representation,
Yes.
and like I don't think I've ever seen someone who is a Sikh like with a turban and everything like
In
competing on any sort of reality
Yeah,
show. So
yeah.
for me, it's really interesting to like hear his story and like
Hmm.
hearing about like especially after like 9/11,
Hmm.
how people were like perhaps treating him and making assumptions about him.
Hmm.
It's something I'd never really considered. Um, and yeah, I think it's just really nice that he's been able to share that part of his story and share how he's by him being on a show like Big Brother, he's able to help change perceptions and show that actually, we're all just people.
Hmm.
So yeah, I thought that was a really like powerful conversation as well, and hearing Hysam's perspective as well as
Hmm.
someone who's Egyptian was quite interesting as well. So yeah,
Hmm.
that was my thoughts on that
Yeah,
side of the cast, I guess.
yeah, nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have any early favorites?
Well, typically in Big Brother, on any reality show, I love the old people, especially when it's like the token old. Like I always root for them and everything. And um,
Excellent.
but with that being said, I really liked Corey at the start. He's getting a bit overwhelming sometimes now, but um, I
Yeah,
love his little beat you Zach in the eviction thing
that
because
was really funny. Yeah,
yeah,
I really like that.
um,
I was gonna mention that.
mhm. I'm loving seeing Suri do so well, or I guess kind of we don't know much, but like the fact that she's in these alliances and
Yeah.
like again, I don't think she's gonna win much
I'm
competitions, but
definitely seeing why she is so iconic because like
mhm.
she is just like sneaking her way around
Yeah,
everything
exactly. I
without being
yeah,
sneaky. She's just there.
Felicia, Haysom, Jared kind of. That's those are like the main. Is I like Izzy too. She's I just that moment where she pulled Jared aside right at the start was iconic, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I quite like Izzy as well. Izzy seems a little full on,
yeah,
but
she's
I
playing a
feel
bit
like that's
hard.
quite entertaining.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah. Overall, I
um
think it's gonna be a good season, good cast. I
yes.
think I
I
am
like
rooting for the old
Riley.
people, but oh yeah, yeah.
Oh. I like Riley because I was so unfair to her at the beginning. She was like, I'm not just a pretty face, guys. And I was like, uh-huh. Like, because normally when people say that, it's like, oh, here we go. Like, when you get the model on the show and
Hmm.
they're like, I'm more than just a model.
Uh-huh.
When they have to say that, that's when you have to get concerned.
Hmm.
Like, no one should have to introduce themselves by starting that way. There should be the
Yeah.
substance to come first? So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I even said to you out loud, I was like, oh, here we go. Like,
Yep.
and then you know what? Riley stepped up and she got that
Yeah,
first head of household,
exactly.
and
And
she like actively said she was gonna step up and go for it as
hmm
well.
and
And
she
I
had a
was
good
like, you know what?
strategy and yeah.
Slay. Yeah.
And she got a solid alliance. She was a little you see, like I can't blame her too much for like because I think what like like you saw how Red named every single person and she's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what's going on?" But we know that's
Yeah.
Jared. We know that's because of Jared. He tells Sari and then Sari just kind of spreads the word.
Yeah.
And we have to give credit to Felicia too. She noticed the main five
Yeah,
pretty
no,
easily.
Felicia, that because I had completely like I didn't really care about Felicia. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, she's got a cool personality, but she's just here. She's along
Hmm.
for the ride. But then as soon as she clocked that alliance just by walking into a room with them all,
Hmm.
and she just knew, like she didn't just know enough to like mention it in her like confessional, whatever they call it. Is it a confessional?
Diary room, but yeah.
Diary room. She didn't just know enough to mention it there so that she could kind of be like, oh, I told you if it comes up later. No, she fully went to a group of people to tell
Yeah.
them how sure she was. And she was right. And that was why I was like, you know what? This woman has come to play. And I
Yeah.
respect
Yeah,
that. Like, go on.
yeah. I
Like
think
that was such a power move.
mhm. Yeah, that was great. And just the confidence she has with it. My favorite
Yeah.
are definitely Suri, Felicia, and Heisem, I'd say.
Okay.
Um
Yeah. Let me try and think of mine. So
yeah.
um yeah, I honestly Riley just because I was mean to her at the beginning and now I
Okay.
regret it. And you know what? Riley was crying and I would be
Yeah.
crying too if I was on
Yeah.
Big Brother. So you know what? She's
Mhm.
just like me. Um I quite like Heisem as well. I loved when he said that his name means protector.
Oh, I don't
Like
remember
that was
that,
a
but Well, no, I think
he said
I do
that.
remember that. Yeah, I do remember
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. It was when he was talking to the lady who got voted out, whose name I'm just blanking on.
Kirsten.
Begins with an M. Oh, it doesn't begin with an M. Kirsten! There we go. I knew it
If
was
it's the
like
one who got
seven
voted out,
letters.
yeah, it's probably Kirsten. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was her.
Mhm.
They were sat on like the hammock together.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So yeah, I quite like Heisem as well, and kind of Blue. I think Blue seems like
Mm.
quite cool,
Hmm.
just generally. I don't think we've seen her full potential,
We haven't
but
seen a lot of her
yeah,
yet. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like she's quite an interesting character, and like I don't know, looking at her, you wouldn't think she'd go and sleep in like the scary room, for example. Like you'd assume she'd be more into like you know the cute stuff because she appears visually very like pretty, but she was
Hmm.
like yeah straight to a scary room. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like
Yeah.
again, I feel like there's a bit more under the surface with her, so
Hmm.
I'm interested to see that come out. And I think she's one of those people that everyone's going to kind of like, and I think she could slip through quite a bit. So,
Yeah, for sure. She'll
oh, and I
make it
like
far.
Red as well.
Ah, yeah. Red and blue.
Blue and Red.
Yeah.
They were so, yeah, exactly. I mean, it was so funny. Blue was like, also like the color. And I was like, yes, if these two don't align, like, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
They should make an alliance and call it purple. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I bet they will. I don't think they'll stick to it, but I bet they'll make that alliance. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to. And
Hmm.
if they don't call it purple, then I'm walking into that house myself and telling them.
Yeah. Okay. Talk
Oh,
about
and
our
Jared as well.
favorites.
I do really
Yeah,
like Jared.
Jared's nice. Jared is very real. I don't think he's like putting on any sort of fake personality or anything. Like this is
Yeah,
very clearly him, and not that any of them are being fake in any way.
yeah.
But Jared, you can just tell he's very
He's
real.
just being 100% himself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think most of them are being themselves, but knowing they're on TV.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, Jared is just chilling.
Yeah. Exactly. Um,
Yeah.
and of course, Cerise's also being herself, but she's not. She's
Yeah.
not revealing her threat level as
Yeah.
much.
So
Um,
that's a thing I want to mention, actually. Do we want to address the Luke situation?
I
Because I
think
think I
I
mentioned
think
it
we should talk about it
briefly.
a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so for like we had different ways of finding out, but for me,
Yes.
it was in the eviction episode where they're like someone left the house after breaking code of contact.
What
And
did you think when you heard that?
well, okay, yeah, yeah. So I've only
Like, what went through
seen
your head?
I've only seen Big Brother starting at season 17. And I've also watched season 2 just when I was like binge watching. But I know every season. And every expulsion has been something utterly huge and usually physical. Not that
Oh boy.
that's nothing to say about the level of what Luke did, but like
No, I know, but like
UFC
you're expecting, there was a fight.
season 2 was like he got kind of drunk and was holding a knife and just all these incidents.
Oh my
And
gosh.
season 4 he like peed on a window, he threw some stuff, and then it's all these like violent things. Like season I think 14 was like a headbutt or something like that. And then there were various things involving physical
Yeah.
violence or throwing something out. And the fact that Luke said the N word, I assume once, or got caught
Yeah, it
once
was it was
and was
once. Yeah,
expelled
caught
for it,
once.
was just I wasn't ready to see that. I fully support it. I am very proud of the steps CBS and Big Brother have taken to go against to be anti-racist and improve that.
And to really
Because
just show there's no like zero tolerance.
exactly, because like it was such a shock, because like the past few seasons there have been various incidents involving racial issues and some racism that I don't fully remember what they were, but there were many calls to expel certain cast members, and it just
Mm,
kind of got ignored. So the fact that now they're doing something is amazing to see, and it's a good step in the right direction. As and yeah, and Jared put it well in his confessional that they made it very clear whether Luke was malicious or not, even though he didn't see it as malicious, but hopefully it was a learning
yeah,
experience for him. And yeah,
yeah. And to be honest, like you know that I believe Luke said like, oh, it just slipped out.
hmm
It's like you
And
shouldn't
it's not
really
okay
have
for that
that
to slip
word.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't have that word in your vocabulary to begin with.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, and
Yeah.
it's the way you just said it so casually. It's like, yeah, he
Hmm.
says this all the time, so it's a little bit
Exactly.
like, ooh.
Yeah.
Um, I think everyone involved did handle it really as well as they could have.
For sure.
Um, when so I found out a few days before, like I guess when it happened, because
Hmm.
I was reading
Yeah.
a like
Something about the
I
live
don't know,
feeds. Yeah.
yeah, I was chatting with some people in a group chat,
Hmm.
and Big Brother got brought up, and that's how I found out what had happened. And I was kind of like, oh damn. So I went to Twitter to find out what was going on because apparently, like, the feeds were down. It was like it was all dramatic. No one knew what
Hmm.
was going on. Like, there was talk of the eviction getting cancelled. Like, everyone was like, oh, they need to call it off. It was quite the drama. um, and it was really interesting. I didn't really know what to do, so I just searched BB25 on Twitter and just read what everyone was saying because, I don't know anything about Big Brother and I don't know anything about the experiences that Black people face from the perspective of like actual Black people. Like, I'm white.
Hmm.
So it's like, I don't really have any, you know, position to be talking about any of this. So,
Yeah.
rather than weighing in myself, I just thought I'm just going to see what everyone is saying.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think a lot of people were saying it was definitely the right thing
For
to
sure.
immediately remove him from the game. Apparently, in the past, people have just got like told off in their
Yeah.
diary room or
At
something.
most. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, it seems like really positive that they're finally stepping up and actually taking action and
Hmm.
showing that there is zero tolerance. Because now I imagine all future contestants who might have a chance of it slipping out will know that there is no tolerance for that,
Hmm.
and they cannot do it. So hopefully it will help remove that word from people's vocabulary that shouldn't
Yeah.
be using it.
Exactly.
So there we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah, it was
Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting. And for this to be my first week of Big Brother, like, wow, what a
Hmm.
um action-packed week, let's say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. To put it
So
into
that was that.
into perspective with the racial incidents, this is the first expulsion since I want to say season 14. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
no, people were saying like I think it was 14 or 16. So it's been like 11 years. Yeah,
I
14 then.
think 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
fact that and so and with like the past 4 or 5 seasons have had significant racial incidents, and like the thing with the live feeds is it's on all the time and you're gonna see people their true selves, whether it's in the show or not. That's like they know they're
Yeah.
on camera, but they'll get used to it in those several days in the house,
Yeah. You
and they'll
can't put on
act
a
as they are.
persona
You can't
forever.
have a persona for 100 days.
Yeah.
Um, but
Gosh,
yeah,
it's 100 days. That's
yeah,
horrendous. Oh,
yeah,
I was gonna say, oh yeah, I want to talk about Kirsten actually. I
yeah.
was
Go for it.
really sad to see her go. I feel like she was someone who would have been a really good player if she'd stuck around.
I
Um,
Yeah. I really
because
appreciate. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I really like that moment where she was like she looked at the camera, she was like, America, like, we're gonna turn this around.
Yeah.
I was rooting for her. I was like, you know what? Go on, Kirsten.
Hmm.
Like, get them, turn
Yeah.
things around. And again, I think it just got really, really unlucky that her back
Wrong
kind of just
place,
ended up
wrong
against the
time.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was due to Riley, who Riley chose to take off the block.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there was much she could have done against Felicia.
Hmm. Yeah.
Which is a huge shame for her. So yeah, it's sad to see her go, but yeah, I
Kirsten
did
never
like that
really
moment.
gave up, and I really appreciate that in
Yeah,
her. And I think
yeah,
she could have done better. And I mean, it always sucks for someone to be the first boot, and it happens every time. But
yeah.
I feel like she had a lot of
Technically,
potential.
actually, technically, she's not first boot, is she? Because she was
Yes,
second
that is
out.
correct. She
That's all I'm saying.
she will not go down as the first person to leave the house. She was the first one evicted, but she
Yeah,
was not the first one to leave.
she outlasted
She was
someone.
exactly. But yeah. What did you think about the veto competition?
Ugh, that was the
That
flowers
was
one,
the
right?
flowers and the
Ah,
atomic
I
wedgies.
loved it. That was so cool. I was a bit confused at why Suri was like the commentator. Like, can we have like Jeff come in? Because
No,
I
so
love
something
Jeff
with Big
doing stuff.
Brother is half the time they have one of the cast members hosting especially the veto competitions.
How do they pick that?
Well, I think they pick Suri because she's Suri. Like every now and then they'll be like head of household, choose someone to like host the competition, or for head of household competitions that aren't live, you'll see the previous head of household host it because they're not. You can't compete if you were just a head of household.
Ah.
Um, so
Oh, so Riley can't compete in the next one.
yeah, Riley will probably be giving instructions for this next one.
Right.
Um,
Well, great, because Riley in the public speaking, I meant to mention that. She was so good when she explained the head of household ceremony. Maybe it's one of those things like with Survivor where you just
they're
memorize
all
the
gonna be
speech. But
pretty
like
good. Like that wasn't an explanation. That was like that's script. That is scripted.
she was very good at
Yeah,
reading
she was
it
very
though.
good at
Like
reading it out, though.
she
Yes,
spoke
yes.
clearly, she intonated. I was very impressed. Like, as someone who loves to walk around and interview people and be on camera, like she nailed that.
Mhm.
I was like, get her, who's this Julie woman? Like, swap them round, put Julie in the house, Riley on the stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it her name's Julie, right?
Yes, the host is Julie.
Julie, yeah. She's an interesting one. Apparently she's quite iconic. I did like her. I did like
Yeah.
her. I love the way she like turns to the right camera. Like she gives like great energy.
Yeah.
Very cool. She's not
Also,
beating Jeff for me though. I'm a big
yeah,
Jeff enjoyer.
but she's right for Big Brother in my opinion. Like,
Mm.
I don't know if I'd want to see Jeff sitting outside the
Jeff would
house
be
doing all that
yeah,
stuff.
Jeff could
Jeff would be
not
too
do that.
excited. I feel
Jeff,
like Julie has
yeah,
the right level of energy for this
yeah.
show.
She
And
gives very like champagne evening.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
she is the wine mom. Like she is there.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
agree. They are
something I want to
definitely it's
yeah.
the right casting for the
Yes.
host.
Yes. Something I want to say about speeches. I want to talk
Mm,
about a little bit. I want to mention Heisem. He won the veto, and when choosing not to use it, he specifically said how he couldn't choose between either Felicia or Kirsten,
mm.
and that he's gonna let his
That was a
housemates decide.
really smart way to do it,
And I don't
in
remember.
my
People
opinion.
don't do that very often. They don't say that. I'm surprised that like this is the first time I remember someone saying it like that. Oh, I couldn't choose between either of you, so I'm just gonna leave it the same. That was I really like how he worded that. It's a cop out. It's definitely a cop
Yeah.
out, but
Oh, for
like
sure.
he
But
did
he
it in
copped
a
it. Like,
great way.
yeah. But we
Yeah,
all knew he was gonna cop out because there's
yeah.
no need to like pull someone off unless he was like really, really desperate to save Kirsten. There
hmm
was no need to pull someone to put someone on because you've
hmm
made an enemy then.
Exactly.
And also everyone's gonna be looking at you like, oh, he's playing the game.
hmm
So yeah, he did the right thing. I think
Yeah,
both actually, Riley and Heisem both did the exact things I would have done in their
yeah.
situation. So
hmm First week
yay!
is always get as little blood as possible on your hands, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
then now that the alliance has formed, I think next week we will definitely see
it's gonna.
some
It got
blood.
really intense. It got pretty intense this week, and I think it's gonna get even
Mm,
more intense next week. And I'm excited.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I think these alliances are like I think they've kind of run out of neutral people already. Is the big
yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
so I feel like it's just gonna be a clash of both sides of the house taking pieces out of each other because if one side wins head of household, they're gonna nominate the other side mostly, and this could go for a few weeks of just
Yeah, so then what
casualties of these
happens? So, like,
alliances.
surely if two people from one alliance get nominated and then, like, someone else wins the veto and, like, switches it, surely then it's just a vote between alliances.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with how big the alliances are right now, if it is alliance versus alliance, if one member of one alliance wins, no matter what, on eviction night, it'll be two people of the other alliance, no matter who the target is, because head of household always has control of the nominations. It's just veto can remove one. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's just voting
Oh,
between
so
alliance members.
are there normally three people?
No,
Wait.
two people on the block.
Okay, so they can remove one.
They
So
remove
then
one
they
and it
put
gets
one of their own
replaced.
in. Yeah, so they
The
put one of so then they
no,
could be
no,
one from
the
each
head of
alliance.
household chooses.
Oh,
The person was the veto only removed someone, but the head of household was always supposed to be replaced.
oh,
Yep. So like
oh, that
so
makes
if
sense
Heisem used the veto
now.
this week, Riley would have chosen the replacement nominee, not Heisem.
Right. And who would Riley have been
I don't
eligible
know.
to choose? Like, could she have chosen Heisem?
I don't fully know. I think so. I'm not sure. Maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
surely not.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Um,
All right.
but yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It
As
won't.
you guys can see, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
It's a learning journey over here.
So yeah, it won't be member versus member. It will be member versus member. It won't be alliance versus alliance come eviction night.
So
Unless
there's
if
going to be
something
a bit of
crazy happens.
alliance eat alliance moment.
Exactly, but in the name of like, here's the thing, like
But
from
in the name of who is best at winning challenges.
exactly like if the young
Ooh.
people have two people on the block, they're gonna want to vote the weakest one out, where the old people are gonna want to vote the
Oh
stronger
no,
person
it's
out.
over for blue. That's
What? Why?
Blue. I feel like they're all just gonna be like, yeah, Blue's rubbish at challenges.
I
Cause
don't
bless
know.
her heart, she tries.
But also,
But
the old people aren't gonna put her on the block. Then it's the big thing. If they're head of household.
good point. Good point. Blue is winning. Never mind. See what I mean? Join the Blue Nation. Invest in stock today.
Yeah, but yeah, so we've got an interesting alliance battle coming up. But is there anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, if that
Oh,
be
I do
oh,
actually.
okay, go for it.
Her name's like Bowie Jane, isn't it?
Yeah, the Australian.
That is a really bad like initials.
I
Thank
thought we
you
were
for
going to talk
watching
about how she was
reality.
Australian or something, and you're like, oh my gosh.
No, no, we're going to talk about her. No, I'm not going to do my. I love Australians. I'm very happy there's another one on TV, but no, I was going to talk about you know. I think that's why Izzy was giggling earlier in the episode
I
because they were listing people and Izzy just like dissolved.
I don't know.
You probably missed it. I was it's
I
because I
think
was thinking about it.
I think this is a good point to wrap up the episode.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Reality Check. New episodes every Saturday now.
Yeah.
And this is the show where we cover reality shows. We check on reality. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.